Hello and welcome to India Narrative. My name is Atit Sharma and today I have with me a very special guest, former Delhi Police Commissioner Mr. Neeraj Kumar, one of the most accomplished police officers in the country who has been batting, and I must say batting really well, on a different pitch altogether post his retirement from Indian Police Service. Welcome Mr. Kumar. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you in our studios, and as I said that your second innings has been very impressive, just like your long and illustrious police career. And you've already written two bestsellers, including Dial D for Dawn and Khaki Files, one of which has been turned into a web series already. And now you have come up with your third book, which is named A Cop in Cricket, which essentially captures your time spent in the Board of Control for Cricket in India, the BCCI, as the chief of its Anti-Corruption and Security Unit, ACSU, between 2015 and 2018. So would you tell us more about this book and the idea behind it?
I wrote this book because when I joined the BCCI, I was a police officer in my earlier avatar, and I was also a cricket fan, like almost every Indian is. And I had certain notions about the game. I had seen it from a distance, even though I had been associated with almost every major investigation conducted in the country connected with cricket, connected with corruption in cricket, be it the 2013 spot fixing case. At that time, I was the Commissioner of Police, Delhi, and this case happened under my charge. Earlier, I was associated with the 2000 CBI inquiry into corruption in cricket. It so happened that the Hansi Cronier investigation that had been done by the Delhi police, that had not been charge sheeted, and I discovered it to my horror when I was the Commissioner of Police. So I made sure that the charge sheet was filed after 13 years of the case being registered and investigated. I was also associated with a major investigation carried out by the Scotland Yard when they were investigating a man called Oshim Khetrapal, an Indian who was wanted in one of their cases. So, by and large, I had been associated willy-nilly with almost every major investigation into corruption in cricket. So, I went with that background, and I thought that I had been chosen or handpicked because of my past experience. And I joined the BCCI, hoping that my expertise in dealing with cases of corruption in cricket will be utilized to its full. But I realized very soon that they were totally indifferent, totally cussed towards the whole issue of corruption in cricket.
There were committees formed, Justice Retired Mudgal Committee, then Mr. Lodha came in, and then eventually the COA was formed, and under the former CAG, Mr. Vinod Rai, which you said essentially that left the waters more muddied than ever before.
Yes, I had hoped that this cussedness towards me and also towards the Anti-Corruption and Security Unit of the BCCI, which the board had exhibited during the first 2 years of my tenure, would go away once the committee of administrators came in, because the head of the committee was a former Controller and Auditor General of India. He was an IAS officer, and I had expected that he would show very keen interest in our work and in our fight against corruption. But nothing of the sort happened. And in fact, things became quite sordid because there was a Me Too allegation against the CEO who had also been appointed in the wake of the Justice Lodha Committee report. So the way it was, the allegations of sexual harassment by an employee of the BCCI against the CEO, they were also handled in a very peculiar sort of way. So that disappointed me, and I thought I must put it down in black and white for the readers in general to know.
In the book, you've written that the reason behind writing A Cop in Cricket was, and I quote you, that you wanted to unburden yourself of experiences at the BCCI and clean yourself of the toxins that it left in your system. Must have been terrible times.
Yes, at a personal level, it was quite terrible, as you rightly said, because besides getting occasional slights and indignities that I suffered during my tenure, mostly arising out of their indifference. On certain occasions, I also found my experience rather humiliating, and more so because I had come there having served as the chief of the Delhi police. So I found those humiliations very hard to take, and being a sensitive person, I had I was quite pent up with those feelings, and I thought through this book I'll give vent to my pent up anguish and wrath, so to say. So I basically wanted to cleanse my system of those toxins.
As the Delhi police chief, you had about 85,000 men and women working under you. And here you were at the BCCI with just 2 men to handle the security and corruption in cricket in the entire cricket mad nation like India. And you had an office initially, but then it was taken away without informing you.
That is just the point I'm trying to make, that they were not only indifferent to the issue of corruption in cricket, they were positively, shall we say, they wanted to tell me, they wanted to put me in my place and tell me that, you matter very little to the cricket establishment.
But as they say, the more things change, the more they remain the same. We've changed seats, but not much changed in Indian cricket. Even after this entire episode, you saw it with your own eyes. Do you feel disappointed that not much has changed? Things have remained, everything is back to square one as far as administration is concerned?
See, I'm not privy to what is happening in the cricket establishment now. So it would be unfair on my part to say that things are better or worse. But the basic malaise continues to remain. And that is that, there are no clear-cut policies. For instance, there is no clear-cut HR policy. What is the criteria of taking somebody in? What are the posts which are kind of sanctioned? How to, get somebody out of the system, out of the establishment, how to terminate somebody's services. So it's all arbitrary, all autocratic. New office bearers come, they bring their own staff, and the old people are just allowed to leave. And it goes on like that. So as long as there are no clear-cut laid down policies that they must follow, things will remain the same.
Will the corruption ever be rooted out?
See, the point is that when we look at corruption, we only look at the corruption at the top level. Absolutely. We always want to know whether somebody was fixed, some match was fixed or not, whether a cricketer is compromised or not. But we don't care about what happens at the ground level, at the grassroots level. The entire system, the ecosystem of cricket is rather pitiable, because the selectors at every level, they want some gratification, sometimes monetary, sometimes sexual, and Then to get selected to the IPL or to get selected to the Ranji team, again you have to grease somebody's palms. So how do you expect a cricketer who reaches the top but who has come through this system to remain integritous, to remain honest? It is very difficult and it is unreasonable also to expect him to be maintaining high levels of integrity and rectitude.
In fact, your book mentions a lot of cases, from small towns, right from Mahendragarh in Haryana to a small village in Punjab, where a league, Sri Lankan league, apparently was being played and streamed live, and it was happening right in a village near Mohali. So there's so many cases. In fact, the book has a lot of such cases that have been mentioned. You rightly said that everyone is bothered about spot fixing and match fixing, but there are such things which are happening in every town, in every city, in every district, which have to be controlled. Is it actually possible?
No, it is possible, provided we have a proper system in place. Tell me, why can't every state cricket association have an anti-corruption unit? They have so much of money, they can outsource this activity to private players, and they will bring in information, they will enforce the laid down rules and regulations. If there is a will, you will always find a way, irrespective of the spread of the country, irrespective of where all cricket is played. If we put a system in place, it is always possible to fight malpractices and corruption, or at least not to make it absolutely fail-proof, but at least to make it, bring it down within manageable limits.
You've given some recommendations in your book, A Cop in Cricket, what really needs to be done to root out corruption in Indian cricket, and one of that is bringing in a sports bill which has been hanging in for a long time.
First of all, will be bringing in the sports integrity bill, into the legal regime of the country, so that everything connected with corruption in cricket could be criminalized. For instance, if somebody is making an approach to a cricketer that you do so and so and I'll pay you so much money, is that an offense? Of course it is an offense. So it should be criminalized. There should be a section of law under which such a person can be booked, right? If a cricketer accepts that offer, that should also be criminalized. If somebody indulges in corruption, underperforms during a game, it should be criminalized. Because all cases have failed in the absence of a sports integrity bill. So top of the heap is definitely the enactment of that bill. Second of all, the anti-corruption and security unit should be more strengthened, given more resources. Its tentacles should reach the state level cricket, the district level cricket. There can be systems by which information keeps pouring in to the BCCI anti-corruption unit from the ground level, what is happening, what matches are taking place, what hanky-panky is going on. You can easily have a very good intelligence system. And thirdly, and the most important thing is that the anti-corruption education program should be really made very, very strong through the use of social media, through the use of advertisements, through the use of films, training films, and they should be shown to the cricketers who are playing the game at the grassroots level.
You've also mentioned a lot of good anecdotes while you were traveling with the Indian cricket team in India and abroad. Any particular anecdote that you would like to share with the viewers? For more, probably they can go through the book, but if you would like to share something.
Our cricketers are a very fine lot. They are very good human beings, full of respect. At least they showed tremendous respect towards me. And they are fun to be with. And one thing that I can never forget is the time I spent with them on cold wintry night around a bonfire in Dharamshala, singing songs and playing music and cracking jokes and, so late into the night. And never for a moment did they make me feel that I was so much years senior to them in age. They treated me as if I was their closest friend. They shared all kinds of anecdotes with me, shared jokes with me. So that really sticks out. And also, if you permit me, the goodness that I noticed in some of the cricketers, and I mentioned about Ajinkya Rahane, who just overheard me telling somebody that I support a cricketer who is a budding batsman. And without me asking him for anything, he presented a signed bat for that cricketer to me and made sure that it was delivered to me in Delhi, which I thought was very nice of him and very kind of him.
Are we going to see a web series on a cop on cricket very soon?
Actually, the production house has already signed the movie rights for the book. So maybe in due course of time there is something.
Well, sir, thank you so much for joining us. In fact, we can talk on cricket and corruption for endless number of hours, but unfortunately that's the time that we have for today. But I must say that it's not only cricketers who give it back to the game, but also good men like you who make sure that it stays a gentleman's game. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.